Hey, what's up? It's like 9:45, something like that. Uh, I'm watching Netflix's The American Experiment, and it seems uh, it's seeming more and more like it's going to be the American ball coddling. Uh, they're talking about right now, um, like, uh, right, like way back before the Revolutionary War. Like, it seems if you study history, you probably know this, but it seems like Americans back then, the colonists, like they just didn't want to pay taxes on anything then, kind of like now. And by they, I mean the people that could afford to pay taxes, like the people that actually had money, like the people that owned businesses. And because back then, like there weren't like corporations really or anything. They were like farmers. There was like the lowest tier people, like the people that were like on subsistence stuff, and then there were like some tradesmen, and then there were like lawyers and whatever. It was, it was the ye old days of shit. So it's like those people that could afford to pay taxes, they would just like in their free time, and they were the guys that had free time, and like run around and go to taverns and drink and talk amongst themselves and rile up the crowds. Like, do you want to pay taxes with me? No, taxes are no. The same old garbage that it is now. Americans were always dumb. People have always been dumb. Very susceptible to, you know, stupidity. It's just like taxes of any kind, pay for, I don't know, stuff. No, fuck taxes. I don't want taxes. Oh, so you don't want like, roads? No, we want roads. Oh, okay. So you just want roads to appear then? Yeah, we just want roads to appear. Good. We'll get on that. We'll get on roads just appearing. They just appeared. You want a sewer system? Yeah, we like sewer systems. Those are great. Yeah, it's gonna need taxes. Nah, fuck taxes. I don't like paying taxes. Stupid people. Stupid people always. They just mentioned quartering of British troops and imposing of taxes. I don't know what anybody else says, but to me that sounds a lot like ICE and tariffs. Now I know they say tariffs are on other countries, but if you charge, if you say to the other country they got to pay an extra 10%, then obviously where's that extra 10%? I mean, it's it's going to increase the price. I mean, what do they always say about when you can't raise the minimum wage, because when you raise the minimum wage, then they're gonna increase the cost of something. Well, that's fucking tariffs. So I mean, there you go. See, that's the same fucking thing. So there you go. I mean, and yet, the cult of personality Trumpers, they don't see anything wrong with that. They just love the orange dick being shoved up their butthole. So again, they're talking about it's a different episode, but again, they're talking about now we're at the Continental Congress after the war is ended, trying to figure out the Constitution and how the country is going to be formally done and run and everything. And they're like, well, what's the presidency going to look like? And so is always worrying about and preaching, what if a demagogue comes around and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, Trump. We had a guy once, a while back, who people wanted to keep voting into office. His name was FDR. They kept wanting to vote him into office, and then again he was like, yeah, no. And then they made that amendment that a president should only serve 2 terms. And Trump keeps on saying like, well, maybe I should just run again. Maybe I should just stop having elections. The dude is talking like a fucking dictator, and not enough, actually no mainstream news service is mentioning fucking anything about it. The dude just keeps on talking like a dictator. He's walking, talking, and acting like a duck, and people are just like, so, the weather was nice today. It's like, you didn't see that big duck over there? That was a pretty big duck. Like just right on your fucking news desk. It just walked right by, and you're just like, well, like, Jimmy ate ice cream cone. It's like, really? Just nothing about that duck that's just walking by. Yeah, okay. Whatever. I mean, turn a blind eye to the guy that is totally driving the country off a cliff. I mean, it's getting closer and closer, but yeah, nobody's like, what the fuck? And the people that voted for him 3 times are just like, this looked great. That looks like a great cliff right there. Let's just keep going for it. I'm betting it's a great landing. There's got to be a great river in there or something. Like, what the fuck? You know, and they got fucking Ted fucking Cruz in this fucking thing. With his fucking wormy little looking ass. That just makes me want to punch him in the balls. Punch him in the balls, punch him in the face, punch him in his little fucking mustache or whatever the fuck he has. All these Republicans. All these little Republicans and torpy ass corpo dems that they got in here. None of them fucking, all these fucking people. It's just like nobody's fucking running out in the streets saying, fuck all this shit. We should be killing cops. That's what we should be doing. We should be fucking killing cops. Rand fucking Paul too. Rand Paul, like that guy gives a flying shit. Like what the fuck? Who the fuck are you? You're a Republican. You don't give a shit. You want that orange dick in your mouth and your butthole. Yeah, right. Beautiful. They just went over basically all the compromises that the Constitutional Congress had to go through to appease all the bullshit southern states about keeping slavery intact so that they could keep making money. Because, you know, white people doing plantation work is just, bleh. I mean, I know just being in the hot southern heat sucks ass. I mean, just being out there just telling people what to do would suck enough ass, but actually having to do the work. I don't know. That might actually drive me to kill myself. I don't know how slaves did that. I don't know how black people actually did that instead of just being like, fuck it, I'm going to run, and if you shoot me, that's actually better. But they were like, they probably had orders to not shoot them, to just be like, catch and like torture them and stuff. It's just like, we're not going to kill you. You're our tools. Like, we can't kill you. We got to like catch you and like torture you and stuff. Like, we can't kill you. We need you to work. And it's like, dude, seriously, just kill me. Like, what are we doing here? I don't want to work. Dude, what are we doing? Pick up a spiky log and just like shove it through these people's chests or something and be like, now are you going to kill me? I deserve it now, don't I? Just like, ugh. Yeah, it's just like, working in that heat. It's just, ugh. I do not know how you could stand to do that. Like, any kind of time. Unbelievable. How you bear to do that. It's just you're like, we're not going to be in this union unless we can have us some slaves to do this stuff. Like, we don't have tractors yet, so we need some slaves. And tractors won't be invented until like the 1950s. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. And now they're going to talk about the Electoral College and how it kind of sucks. And the reason it hasn't changed yet is because Republican candidates won twice when a Democrat won and basically should have won. And so it's not going to change under Republican rule ever. Um, so the system has to change when Democrats are in rule. That has to be a point of kind of bureaucratic minutia that is attended to. Um, the problem is the Republicans have fucked up so much like top level shit that it's kind of like that might kind of fly under the radar. You know, we might be like fixing so much real shit that it's just like, oh yeah, we forgot to like fix how everybody is like elected. We forgot to get to that. And then like another Republican wins. But yeah, we got to change that. We got to change that. We got to change a bunch of things. We got to change things so that shit, the whole system, the process by which the system operates is updated to modern day. And probably not even just modern day, but you know, into for the future, so that it works and will keep on working for a little while further. There, it's on the final episode of this Netflix series, and it's talking about the inauguration of George Washington. And they're also talking about Congress being like going to their like first session as the federal Congress too. I think you got to wonder a lot of times being, yeah, okay, first they still have slavery and everything, but also you got to just kind of wonder, like, this was in like 1783, 1784, 7, something like that. So this was still like less than a decade or something like that after the Revolutionary War. So, I mean, basically all of Europe was just like, they're just like, since every European country was, what, centuries old, they were just like, whatever. Especially Britain. Britain was like, yeah, you won. We'll just wait it out. You'll break up and, you know, by the time the next king is inaugurated. So, drinking your sweet temporal victory, have at your nice parties. We'll just come in and conquer you once you start fighting each other. And we have rebuilt all of our armies and ships and everything. We're nice and ready. And so all, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that's what the War of 1812 was. The English coming back and being like, yeah, this is about the right time. But that right there, the inauguration of George Washington, was them all being like, trying to like bluff, from their perspective, essentially trying to like bluff their way to the crowd, being like, yes, we know what we're doing. And they were like kind of looking at each other being like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. And they still were like, they were looking to, they were doing their best to like look back to history, I guess, too. Look back to any source of any democracy. Any republic, anything, to get any kind of insight. And of course, the series talked about Montesquieu, how they got inspiration from Montesquieu for the separation of powers. So that. But let that be a lesson for the new wave of democratic socialists that are coming around the bend, that think, probably rightly so, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm kind of bluffing my way through this. The first guys that came around didn't have a damn clue what they were doing. And to some extent, maybe a large extent, that's actually a good thing. It gives you perspective that others are lacking. The people that have been there for 30 years, especially the people that have been there for 50 years because they're 78. So there's that. Always keep that in mind, newbies. And they have Mike Pence in here. A very little bit talking about January 6th insurrection and a bunch of times hinting at it. And Netflix shows scenes of it. Netflix is very, very persnickety about the January 6th and Donald Trump and stuff. Major Media Corps just are dancing around the whole Trump thing. I think the only time we won't get a lot of people, a lot of big corporations talking honestly about Trump, a lot of people talking honestly about this until the 2030s sometime. Especially like his wife. Like once Trump is dead and we have gotten somebody, gotten a president and the Democratic Party has been cleaned of all the bullshit corpo Dems. The Republican Party has been something, whether it's been killed off completely or it's been whitewashed to look a little better. And basically, the Trump family has been turned into paupers. So like 5-10 years from now, then we're gonna be able to figure out what fucking happened. But we're not gonna get some truth for a fucking while about all of this bullshit that has gone on in the last. It's August 29, 2026 that has gone on 10, 12 years before now and is going on now probably for the next year and a half, 2 years. You just won't see any real answers. We have got to get rid of this guy. Enough Republican senators and representatives and enough of the corporate Dems. It has got to be done. It's looking more and more every day, week, month. It goes on more and more like enough of the American public is just getting on board with saying, fuck these people. More of the Democrat base, more of the independent base, even just trickling of the Republican base that is just like, we cannot stand this shit. People from all over every part of America and every part of the typical voting populace is just like, this is and has gotten intolerable. And the only reason Trump won is because, he was kind of the outlaw candidate. Honestly, I think Bernie would have won. But Bernie Bernie would not have had enough support from the representatives and senators at that time. And now is a good time for in 2028 to be able to have a good president, because the midterms we're going to get like good senators and representatives before a president will be elected, so that when a president will be elected, we'll already have chosen like the linemen, the receivers, the defensive backs, all the supporting positions will have been filled up in time for us to get a good quarterback in there. All we need is the QB. All we need to do is find a good QB. And once we got that, it's just clear sailing to the fucking Super Bowl. And when we get to the Super Bowl, it's just boom, 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 boom. Touchdown, 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 touchdown. Right into the end zone. 60-yard pass, 60-yard pass, 60-yard pass. Armed like a fucking hurricane. And they were just talking about political polarization. And I think a lot of Republican voters need to understand that they see their guy. Oh, this is a Republican, I'm good voting for this guy. Just like you would see, oh, this is a Democrat, I'm voting for this guy. That's nothing. It means nothing anymore, really. I mean, the political parties it doesn't mean anything anymore. If both political parties are devoid of what they're claiming to mean, but they do mean something. I think you know what you're getting pretty much. You have a kind of intuitive sense of what you're getting. The Republican voters kind of know, okay, I'm getting kind of a I don't like black people and colored people and blah, blah, blah. What I do like is they're going to try to not tax me as much, and they're going to try and be racist and stuff. And that's the truth, whether, you're willing to admit it or not. But, I'm going to try and be more the party is not going to try to be authoritarian necessarily, but what it is going to try to be is more controlling in terms of hierarchicalism, because it tends to respect the Bible and stuff like that. So Bible is highly hierarchical. So it respects hierarchy much more, and the Democratic Party will tend to lean towards a more, well, democratic or community or social town hall based rule, and will respect the whole more, even though they, just like the Republican Party, are basically already purchased. Just like the Republicans, they're already captured by the same billionaires that the Republicans are owned by. And we all know this. And that's why the Democratic Socialists or Social Democrats, whatever the hell they're calling themselves, are gaining much more traction as time goes on, because that group of people are more and more selecting candidates that are trying to say no to PAC money, corporate money. They're trying to campaign via town halls, social media, that sort of thing, instead of going to galas, talk to their rich sponsors, do ads on TV reaching only old people, because only old people have TVs, and rich people. There you fucking bug. Stay inside the bottom of that can. And so you're gonna have to more and more lean towards candidates that are kind of going outside the box, thinking outside the box. How many of those can win, I don't know. But it's a new era. Well, that's that. Now, we just have to get through Trump, the man who would be king, and the Republicans, the political party who would be fine and dandy with him being king. So, we'll see. Time will tell. Tax the rich, kneecap the rich. And tax wealth not work, boobs.